The following presentation is brought to you by the Realm Network.
It's right about time again to swerve again, confuse the general fans again. Add another swerve and then...
Oh shit! It's Vince Russo!
Vince McMahon's best kept secret.
I am the Antichrist of professional wrestling!
David Arquette won the world title!
I've got a wife, 3 kids at home, and I really don't need this shit.
How can this show be so awful, Mr. McMahon? I didn't think it was.
Viagra on a pole match.
And Hogan, you big bald son of a bitch, kiss my ass!
Judy Bagwell on a forklift match. McMahon, the family, the Rock, they screwed us all.
Now you're the editor, right?
Mankind did it! Jumpy, beat me! Goldberg steered Russo out of the cage.
I'm from New York.
I'll get downright nasty.
This is Vince Russo's The Brand.
Hello, everybody. This is Vince Russo, and welcome to The Brand. I'm here for the Realm Network, and I'm here for Podcast One. And I'm going to get right into my interview today because I don't want to waste any time because I've really wanted this guy on for a while for a number of reasons. And quite frankly, I really didn't know how to get a hold of him. But Larry Francis, who's been getting me a lot of guests on the show lately, I want to shout out to Larry, got a hold of him, and he agreed to do the show. And I'm thrilled that he's coming on the show. And listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I haven't seen him since I last worked with him, and I probably last worked with him in 1999. I don't know. Listen, some people have heat with me. Some people don't like something I did. I mean, whatever the case, I don't know if there's any heat here. I don't know if there's not any heat here, but I don't care about that. And if there is heat, I'm here and I'm willing to take the heat. There's a reason why I want this person on. And I think if you look back at my history, what I'm about to tell you will back up. The video is there to back up what I'm saying. First of all, let me tell you, and I don't even think he remembers this. Back in 1991, when I was on Long Island and I was just getting in the business, I had a little show called Vicious Vincent's World of Wrestling. This is 91, folks. This is 26 freaking years ago. And this gentleman and his good friend at the time, Marc Mero, were nice enough to come on my show. And I'll never forget that. I don't forget things like that, bro. I was a nobody. I was just starting in the business. Both of these guys came on my show, and it really helped me out. As his career progressed, I got to tell you, this is somebody that I feel really recreated himself. Refined his gimmick, put a new gimmick on himself. And this is one of these guys that I say is fair to say got himself over and brought himself to the next level. It was about that time, 1999 now, that, Ed Ferrara and myself went to WCW. And I had big plans for this guy because I was a big fan of his. And if you go back and watch the very first Nitro that Ed Ferrara and myself wrote, I think you'll see what we did with him, and you'll see he was in our plans because I really thought this guy was entertaining as hell. Today, I want to kind of peel back the onion, and I'll tell you why. A lot of people, I always get asked the question, Vince, who is the one guy that just for whatever reason, and this is what I want to dissect today, for whatever reason, never got to the level that he had the potential to get to. And let me tell you something about this guy. He got to a high level, but I got to tell you something. I think this individual, when you talk about people like, The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin and, today's John Cena and people like this, I think this guy had all the tools to get to that level. I really do. Now, I know somewhere along the lines there were demons that he dealt with. I know he had a tough life. I know there were pitfalls like we all have. I know that had something to do with it. But as far as like this is what I talk about all the time. I talk about the it factor. I talk about people that got it. This is somebody that, that had it all. He had all that. And that's why I'm excited he's on the show today. I want to peel back the onion. I want to talk about him. Bro, I'm going to tell you before I unmute your mic, just so you know, I don't have a single note in front of me. Nothing. And we haven't spoken in a good, since 99, 17 years. Me and you are just going to chit-chat. A lot of things I want to ask you. I am bringing on now the great Buff Bagwell. Buff, baby. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, bro. Wow. First of all, let me say that was said absolutely perfect. The peel the onion back is exactly where I was kind of hoping we were going to go today, because it really doesn't get said enough. And of course, I can't say it because it looks stupid, but it doesn't get said enough by names of your level that let's just be honest, I got screwed. And that's going to be the part of the peeling the onion back today. And do you cry the blues about what happened? Most of the times, no. But when 99%, if not almost 100% of the population watch wrestling or don't watch wrestling, have the answer of what happened to you and why did you not go to the WWF when you're in the high 90s or 100% average of that, why didn't I get that second chance in one of the most unforgiving businesses in the world, demons or not? And so back to your first part, yes. By the way, I don't have a note in front of me either. I've never done a podcast with a note in front of me. I've never done an interview that I wrote down. I always wing it. So to me, that's the best way to do it. That's your heart. That's from the soul. So that's what we're going to do today. And to be honest with you, I think that's what makes Buff Bagwell is I am Marc all the time, and I don't forget where I'm at. I'm very polite. I'm a Southern boy. I would get whipped for things that I did wrong, ill-mannered or wrong-mannered. So I never forgot that. And I grew up in the town I got popular in, and that's very hard because automatically you graduated with everybody, you dated everybody's sister, everybody's friends with you, they're your family. He's my cousin. So everybody that moved here would go, who in the hell are you not related to? So everybody got a kick out of that, and I'm like, oh dude, I grew up here, so it was a big deal, but it really did. When just to kind of cut to the chase a little bit with no notes, nothing like that in front of us, but how I see it and what happened and with first clearing the air with me and you was, you're right, I don't remember the 91 thing with going on your show, but that was the kind of guy to speak, and thank you for saying that. That is the kind of guy that I am. I've never turned an autograph down. I never say no to anybody. I check my Facebook page, and if somebody can't get on, I try to get them on to be one of my friends. And so I really do reach out and do as much as I can. It's hard in the social media world to do that, but I try. And it's very hard, but I'm always, and especially in person, I'm always, very thankful to the fans. And I really genuinely, if you've ever watched me work an indie show, which you've not, but an indie show anybody's ever watched me work on, I mean, it is from the heart, hugging. I go around the table if I see a person in a wheelchair or something, and I hug them and I put my hat on them. And then anybody that watches that from afar can see that it's not put on, it's not planned, it's just nice Marc Bagwell being himself. And that's one reason I think I stay busy, is because I still give a shit a lot. And I am a people person. And so when it comes to that, I think it really shows, and people see how much fun they had, and they get an autograph and so on and so forth. But when you first came in the company, let's go to that. When you first came in the company,
let me stop you because let me cover. I got to cover one thing first because it's kind of distracting me.
Gotcha.
I'm going to forgive you for the Atlanta Falcon apparel. Let me tell you why I hate the Falcons. You know why I hate the Falcons? Because your brother Atlantean, the overrated Disco Inferno, is a huge Falcons fan. So because
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because of Disco, I hate the Falcons. So I just got to point out, I know you're ready for the playoffs. Big game on the weekend with the Seahawks. I know you're Atlanta through and through, bro. The Bulldogs, the whole 9 yards. But I just wanted to say that. Okay, bro. Let's go to 99. What you were going to say, and let's pick it up from there. Go ahead.
It was real exciting to everybody. Number one, we'd hit a wall, and WCW was obvious to the boys that we had hit a wall, and we had gone from everything we could do was right was wrong, and we couldn't fix it. And all of a sudden, we hear these big rumors of, Vince Russo's coming in, and and we were like, who's that? And of course, the rumors were flying like wrestling does. He was an ex-writer. And keep in mind, I don't know any of this stuff is true or not true. These are things I'm telling you that I heard that you may have heard 1,000 times. This may be the first time you've heard it, but once again, this is just what I heard and know. And you know me, I come from the hip like you do. So backstage, what we're hearing is, before we meet you, is you're meeting separately with everybody. That was the first thing I remember about you. We were going to meet separately with everybody, sing by ourselves. And then after that, all the rumors started kind of flying. Before the meeting, it already had flown around a little bit that you had worked for WWF, and why would we hire somebody that was working for the WWF? And it even got, I remember even the words, a little bit of like sabotage was out there. And I'm like, my God, these boys are so crazy. I mean, I'm literally even going, I'm the youngest guy of the crew heart almost, if not the youngest guy. And I'm going, this is ridiculous. I mean, are you kidding me? So anyway, so we meet, have a good meeting. And the only thing personally that I remember being, somewhat, the only thing that I saw happen that I was, keep in mind, and pecking order wise, Buff was popular, but still Buff was, Buff was Buff. You had your Lugers, you had your Stings, you had your Hogans, you had your Nazes, you had your Halls. There was a bunch of stars in that group. You had your Jarretts. So, I just kind of listened and held back, but I do remember it being a definite, the claim to fame that I remember was you were not going to ever go on TV. And that was kind of your whole plan was, look, that was y'all's problem. Y'all had a problem of whoever was in control kind of losing track and going on television. And so anytime that I've ever said something, and I'm sure I have, anytime it was something negative about you, it was something that I knew of. If you had a previous podcast that I said something negative about, the only negative thing that I would have ever said about Vince Russo was he did say he was never going to go on TV, and he did. I don't know, keep in mind, back to my pecking order, I don't know why, who, when, how. I just remember that was told you're never going to go on TV, and you did. And then it was, God, now you're babysitting 80 or 90 guys that are all coming at you from different directions. One of the hardest jobs as a pro football coach or running the WCW or WWE, because it's a bunch of overpaid prima donnas, period. And some guys get more heat than others. And that's kind of, what happened to me. I think is, when everything started coming down. You know, the demons were on me and we were juggling. I juggled it very well for a long time, like we always do at first. And then me and Lex were, you know, in cahoots together with the demons. And then, but we fought it off and went to the gym and looked great. So nobody
Buff, can I stop you right there? Because
sure.
I know you're one of these guys, bro, where like we can be perfectly honest with each other.
Absolutely.
And bro, like I really, I love having conversations with other human beings. And here's why, Buff, because we're all different, bro. Like when I have you on my show, I'm going to have a conversation with you. That conversation is going to be like no other conversation I have with anybody else. And Buff, there's a side of me that, you know, is very naive because thank God, bro, like I was never a guy that, you know, bro, you know, got involved with pills or alcohol, or bro, I was never a guy that had to worry about, you know, I'm bumping every night. I can't get out of bed. I got to take a painkiller. Thank God I never had to worry about that. So bro, like, you know, you kind of jumped to, you know, you had your demons and then you and Lex together, that type of a thing. Bro, can we kind of back up? Because like because here's why, bro. Like I'm going back to 1991 when I had you and Mero on the show. Mero was Johnny B. Bad back then. You were just Marcus Bagwell, bro. You guys were almost like virgin white to the business. Like you guys were just starting in the business. And the fact of the matter is, obviously, bro, if you weren't just starting in the business, you would have never done my show. But you know, you're rookies, you're rookies in the business, so everything is like rainbows and unicorns and the whole 9 yards.
Right.
So Buff, kind of like walk me through, because I just really want to get in your head so I can understand when you talk about your demons, you know, and I mean you've made no bones about that. I've heard other interviews. How and at what point do you see that kind of starting with you once you're in the business?
I've really got a really good outline of it because I've got a very good memory and I care once again about it. So I know exactly when and how to break it down. So anytime during this process of the breakdown, again, like you're doing, feel free to please stop me and regroup and corral it so we do get a good story out of this. It makes sense. I love talking. I could do this for 3 hours with you. I love it. So, but what happened on the breakdown was 91 was if you handed me a beer, I'd pour it out. I've never taken a pain pill in my life. I thought all I knew was I'm going to be a pro wrestler. I'm 21 years old, and that beer is bad for my body, and I'm going to be in shape, and I'm going to make it into pro wrestling. Well, ironically enough, I did make it and didn't know what a beer was and didn't drink a beer, and I can remember having my first, not my first beer, but literally probably my 10th. I remember Eric Watts one day at dinner in Pensacola, Florida. I can remember the city. And he said, bro, if you drink a beer before your meal, it will make you a little hungrier because it thins your blood. And I said, bro, when you drink a beer, it's going to fill you up. It's going to block me getting my proper protein in. I'm not going to do that. And he goes, just try it. I had 2 Michelob Lights and I ate the menu. So automatically from that point on, starting in like 91, 92, at dinner, every single night at dinner, I would drink 2 beers and eat the menu. It was part of my deal. I was like, oh my God, this is great. I like this, you know, and woke up, didn't think about a beer, didn't think about a pain pill yet. So then you go 92, 93, same thought pattern. Nothing but wrestling, going to be good at wrestling, stick to your guns, train hard, no demons, nothing to fight, just fun. Like you said, rainbows, and literally I would wear my seatbelt in my car before you had to, because here's a 22-year-old kid making $200,000 a year, and I was extremely thankful for it. From 1992 to 2001 when it ended, I swear to God, 80% of the checks I got, wherever I was at, I fell straight to my knees. And I said, not fell, but I got to my knees and I would say a small little prayer for that check because I knew it was different. I knew it was rare. And I knew it wasn't going to last forever in 1992. But still, 93, 94 keeps going. Stars, Stripes, American Males. About the American Male Day, Dale Wilkes, and I hate to say it, but I got to be honest, and Sting, and I'm going to hear about this, but I don't really care because I'm telling the truth. Dale Wilkes and Sting give me a couple of somas in Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm driving the van in some snow, and I'm kind of feeling kind of weird. No beer or nothing again. No beer yet. Still just at dinner when I did that little thing. So I'm driving down the road going, wow, what? And all of a sudden I see them laughing. And I'm like, what are you guys laughing at? You know, they go, oh my gosh, pull over. We gave you a couple somas. Da, da, da. To tie that story together real quick, 8 years later, Dale Wilkes called me and apologized for that.
Oh, that's great.
And I said, well, thank you so much, Dale, for saying that. I love you to death. But, dude, I'm on, man. There was never a blame on your shoulder. Yeah, you gave him my first soma. I hope you feel better saying you're sorry. But, no, it had nothing to do with my fall or whatever. So thank you. I love you.
But I want to clarify something. I mean, they're giving you pills. I mean, so like,
yes.
Are they saying take these pills? Are they saying these pills are something else? What were the circumstances?
They saw. I can't remember, but I didn't know I had taken anything that was going to mess me up. So either they snuck it in my drink, or I'm sure they had to hand it to me to take. Okay. But I don't remember that part. Keep it in mind, 30 years ago, almost 25. But I don't quite remember. But I just remember not knowing it was in my system, and them laughing. I remember that vividly, and them saying, I remember being in a minivan even. I remember the snow. I remember Cleveland, and I remember them making me pull over and go, oh my God, we give you these things called somas. So that's where the soma thing kind of started. So of course, the next night I said, hey, can I have another one of those somas? So it literally started with like a soma, hey, give me a soma. Hey, okay, soma. And then of course somebody said, hey, throw a beer with that. And all of a sudden, a beer and a soma was like, whoa, man. So then it got to be honest with you, from 93 to 98, for 5 good years, it was a completely nighttime thing. We did not drink a beer during the day. We did not think about a beer during the day. It was completely taboo, and a loser drinks during the day. A complete loser drunk drinks during the day was thought pattern. Mm-hmm. And at night, though, we felt like it was okay to reward ourselves, mm-hmm. to have a little bit of a buzz, have a drink, have that woman glass of wine, so to speak, now that I know that world, and say, that's what we were doing. I think that's what we were doing. Mm-hmm. And we did it well. We woke up the next morning. We went to the gym. We stayed in shape. It was perfect. And we had a blast. And every once in a while, I remember we'd go play golf. And then the rules changed a little bit where, we'd have to play golf and we'd get a little buzz and play golf.
Hey, Buff, can I ask you one question? I want to jump in there for a second. Okay?
Please.
You were a guy, because, bro, I remember 91. Like, I remember that. Bro, you were a guy. And you said where you were one of these guys. And, bro, like, it's a different world today, like where, your next door neighbor can become a wrestler. You were one of those guys, bro, that took great pride in your freaking body and that worked hard and that really was in the gym, bro. You were a blue freaking chipper.
Yeah.
So, bro, like, now what happens? Like, that's where it surprises me, like, a little bit. You take such great pride in your body, but now all of a sudden alcohol starts coming in the picture. Pills start coming in the picture. As somebody that takes such great pride in your body, like, how are you able to combine the two without saying, shit, man, this is just horrible for me?
Okay, unbelievably said and a perfect stage you gave me. But what I'm getting ready to say, I've probably only told 5 people. I don't think I've ever told any podcast, but I've only told about 5 people. And out of that 5, I think only about 4 believe it. But I'm going to share it with you today. So how it came down was exactly how you explained it. How it came down was this person that took pride and was going to make it to the gym no matter what, and didn't drink and didn't do drugs and fought. I'm a blue chipper, like you said, and Lex was too, and we were together on it, and we were going, and then all of a sudden, once again, I hate to say this, but I'm just speaking the truth, all of a sudden, I break my neck in 98. Still, there was no drinking, no pills, pills in the day for the broke neck, but nothing, it was 1 every 4 hours, no abuse, nothing abuse still, it was still all in control, taking it for the injury. And when the injury was over, it was no more pills, that kind of world. But still at night, we did stick to the few somas and a couple of beers every night through these years. But once again, still taboo for a beer in the daytime. And then this ties it together. Scotty Steiner gets shredded after I break my neck, and I get really big and kind of chunky because that's what wrestlers look like. Well, when I got big and chunky to catch up with Scotty from the broke neck, Scotty got ripped. I had to call Mr. Georgia, which is one of my best friends, named Marc Wallace, moved him into my house, and I went from 260 to 228 when I was shredded. And this is probably 98, 99, and I was buff, Bagwell, NWO, shredded. During this time, my schedule was gym, wrestler, live TV, and I was looking incredible on TV, and I wanted to keep looking incredible for the fans, for me, for my job, for money. I was on a roll. And then one day, and Lex was too, we didn't miss a workout. And then one day, after every workout till this day, I do a shake within an hour, and you're supposed to do it within an hour. In every magazine you read, you're supposed to get in 50 grams of protein and 50 grams of carbs. Well, when you look the way I looked, if you go back and look in 1998, 99, I was freakish. So, and I didn't take growth hormone like everybody thought. I just took the right things I needed. It would blow their minds if they really knew the truth. It was very limited. It was things you hear all the time now about testosterone replacement, and really was a very legal, logical way that I looked, but people just didn't want to believe that because it's too hard for them to believe. It came down to cardio and diet. In the middle of this run, the worst thing in the world happened to me, and this was when it all changed, and here it comes. Lex Luger would not let me do my shake after the gym, and I'd go, what are you doing? He goes, man, you've got to try this. You've got to try this. On an empty stomach, dude, when you take a couple of somas and drink a few beers after you've worked out, it's unbelievable. So, of course, me looking good and beer being taboo after a workout, my God, that was like my skin crawls at such a loser. He literally, I swear to God, would chase me around the gym, grab my shake and pour it out, grab a protein bar, throw it out the window because he wanted somebody to party with him. I understand, I get it, but I had no idea what can it was opening, and it opened up Lex and my can that led, truthfully, all the way to Liz's death and to the downfall of everything in our worlds.
Okay. And let me stop you right
there. Go there.
So you're telling me a story of, innocently, a couple of beers at dinner, innocently, that goes to still innocently, couple of beers a night, some somas, innocently, controlling it. Okay, now, you tell me the story about Lex. So from that level, what are we going to next? Like, what's the next level now that you're taking the alcohol and the pills?
This is the part that I told you. Now comes in the part about the 5 people I've told, and probably only 4 believe it. And that's my mom and dad, my wife, and maybe my best friend. And what happened is at this stage, back to the Marc Bagwell blue chip person that we know, I wanted this off my back. So I went to rehab. I said, I don't want to do this no more. This is ridiculous, but you can't come off that cold turkey. You go through detox, this horrible feeling.
Marcus,
I just wanted.
Was there a rock bottom? Like, was there a rock bottom before you made the rehab decision, or did you go before?
Yes, I was running. I wouldn't say rock bottom. It was more. I remember one day specifically, my first rehab. My mom and dad, God bless them, were seeing their son hurt. I was out of pills, and I was in this catch-22 of partying and all that, and now I'm partying during the day some, and still kind of holding it off. Not in the morning I'm not drinking, but mid-afternoon drinking, and a little sooner I'm drinking now, and it's not so taboo to have a beer at 3 where it was before. Now it's workout. I got my workout in. Hey, I'm rich. I'm paying my bills. Boredom, believe it or not, to most drug addicts, they'll tell you boredom is a big part of it, because you're bored and you go, let's get screwed up. I mean, there's nothing else to do. I've done all my stuff and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm not in trouble, never been in trouble yet, so everything's good. So we party a little bit. Well, I got tired of that because of being the blue chipper, and I didn't let something take over my body, and I didn't want that to happen. So I remember my parents come in one night, and they were trying to help me find something with friends and stuff. And the looks on their face was like, they were just so wore out that I was embarrassed. I was so humiliated that my mom and dad are trying to help me do something they know is wrong, but they're going to help their son because he's hurting. And so when I saw that, I don't know what I was thinking. But my first rehab, I checked in on Christmas Eve.
Wow.
I just looked at their face and I said, let's go. And of course, as soon as I said that, my wife had the bags. I was in the car before I knew it. I went, what the heck's going on? I mean, they were ready for this. They were ready for me to say this. And I got in the car, drove to Dalton, Georgia, and did the rehab, came out of the rehab. And when I came out of rehab, my heart was acting extremely funny, and I was probably 20 days sober, which is the longest I'd ever gone without a soma or anything at that stage. And I said, so this is around 1998 still, and I'm like, God, what is going on? Why is my heart feeling that way? And I just felt, I wrote it out for 3 or 4 days, of course. Now I'm 25 days sober. I think it's the most back then I'd gone. And then, of course, eventually, after my heart feeling like it was not feeling normal, I didn't know what it was yet, I took somas and pain pills, and it went away. And so instantly, the human brain tells you, if I took those pills and it went away, then that's some type of withdrawal or something. And if anybody's uncomfortable and they can take this pill and take it away, they're going to do it. And that's what I did. So that led to, what am I going to do? Now I'm back on the pills again. And you got to realize I'm having to hide this, not see nobody see it, try to keep it, kayfaved or, quiet, of course. But of course, everybody kind of knew it, and they saw our faces, and we thought we were getting away with it, but we probably wasn't and all that. But that's what was going on. And so second rehab, same thing. I'm calling doctors during this whole time, being the blue chipper, and saying, something's wrong with my heart. I don't feel right. Something's wrong with my heart. Something's wrong with my heart. Long story short, the heart thing, after 3 rehabs, and the heart thing happened, and every time I came out clean and I would take a soma and it went away, all this is going to make sense in a minute. Finally, I'm at the gym one day and I do a set of chest and I'm out of breath completely. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? So I go to the doctor and like a secondhand doctor, like a nurse practitioner kind of girl, because the doctor wasn't even in, hooked me up to an EKG and she said, how's your heart? She goes, how do you feel? And I said, I feel horrible. She said, you've got AFib. And I said, what is AFib? And she said, AFib is where your heart doesn't beat evenly. And I said, so what do we do? She goes, you need to go see a heart doctor, da, 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 da. I go see a heart doctor. His name is Dr. Winston Gandy is the heart doctor's name. Winston Gandy. He's still in practice. He's still my heart doctor. I go see him and he looks at me, sees what's going on, and he goes, man, we got to shock your heart back to rhythm. And I said, what? So to do that procedure, they have to make sure there's no blockages, because if they shock your heart back to rhythm, it could break a blood clot open and it could kill you. So they go through your groin muscle up into your heart, check for blockages. They go down your throat with a process called a TEE, and they make sure there's no blockages. Once they do that, they can attempt to cardiovert is the word. They cardiovert you 3 times is all they can do it. And you got to do the whole process over. So
let me stop you right there for a
second.
Put
you out for
Let me stop you right there for a second. Now, Marcus, when they diagnose you with this, do they tell you, like, what I'm asking is, between the supplements and the body, and taking the supplements and the alcohol and the somas and all that stuff that you're putting in your body, was that something that led to the heart condition, or was this something you were born with? Were they able to tell you at that point?
At that point, my heart doctor blamed it on steroids.
Okay.
And I said, wow. I said, okay, that means, okay, I get it. And, I didn't overdo them and we kept in line. He knew the truth. Your heart doctor is a guy you want to be honest with.
Yeah, absolutely.
He knew everything about me. Yeah. So he goes, Marc, I'm telling you, I think it's the steroid use over the years, not the amount, just over the years.
Right.
And I said, okay, I got you. So of course, automatically I try to, I start handling that along with this AFib. So I get cardioverted and it come back the first cardiovert, which is a big deal. So since 2007, how you would say it is I have been out of AFib since 2007. My heart is beating normal, but I got to take heart meds the rest of my life. And it's an aspirin and a 325 aspirin, which is, as you know, nowadays is a big deal. And people don't realize that, but it is a big deal. 325 aspirin a day and another drug for your heart called Norpace. Those 2 drugs I got to take every single day of my life, the rest of my life. One slickens the vein and the aspirin thins the blood, and that helps people that have a little bit of a slight heart problem that I have. I'm not in AFib, but you don't want to go back to AFib, so you keep everything thin. Now,
Marcus, were they telling you at that point when they realized that you did have a heart condition, bro, you're still a wrestler. So, like, what are they telling you at that point? You can work, you can't work. We got to take care of this first. You'll be taking a chance by going back in the ring. What are they telling you as far as your career is concerned?
How they tell me, because I'm a very, to look the way I looked and to care like I cared about my body, of course you learn a whole lot about the body.
Right.
And what I was told and what I learned real fast was an AFib, really, even though it's extremely uncomfortable, it's probably one of the most slightest things that can happen to the heart. It's very mild. It's not a big deal. It's extremely uncomfortable to the person that has it, because it's like when you take a deep breath. Let's say you do too much caffeine or you take one of those pre-workout things and you're kind of jittery and your heart's bouncing everywhere. That's kind of how it feels all the time. Yeah. It's really brutal.
Yeah.
So when you know and you feel that way, all of a sudden it started making sense. I go, wait a second. I was coming out of rehab My heart was bouncing around everywhere. And I would take somas. What is your heart? A muscle.
Yeah.
Soma is a muscle relaxer.
Yeah, of course. If you're feeling that way, it makes sense to take a soma to settle down.
The main thing was I didn't know why a soma was taking it away, but once I found out the diagnosis, I went, and I'm still not to the main reason is the best part. But the soma took the heart away, and it made sense. So now with this knowledge, I have completely come off pain pills at this stage of my walk. I beat that monkey through rehab, but I was still taking somas because really what I found out at that walk, I was really never addicted to pain pills. I took them together, but I wasn't addicted to the pain pill. I was addicted to soma. Mm-hmm. So now my last so now I've gone to 3 rehabs. I'm hooked on somas, and that's it. I'm trying to get off somas. I'm probably taking 20 a day, breaking them up for different days throughout the day, but taking 20 a day, and trying to figure out how to get off. So all of a sudden, everything I'd been complaining about for a long time with my heart and my wife saying, God, you're snoring horribly. I go get a sleep study. And I found out that I have, and this is the part that nobody believes, severe sleep apnea. Severe sleep apnea was everything I was complaining about. Sleep apnea. Once my heart doctor heard that, he instantly took steroids off the chopping block and said, 1,000,000% you got your heart problem, AFib, from sleep apnea. We just didn't know you had sleep apnea when I saw you, and I had to give it some reason for it, and that's what I thought. But when you have sleep apnea, for those who don't know, your heart and your brain, when you're sleeping, is not getting oxygen. And there's a certain amount of times that happens a night, and that's how they judge it. Mine was 52. So 52 times a night, I quit breathing, which hurts your heart and your brain, but my heart got AFib out of that. Okay. So the sentence that I want to say that nobody believes out of the 5 and 4 is sleep apnea. Once I gathered all these thoughts, but we'll keep talking about it, but once I gathered everything, sleep apnea caused me to be a drug addict. Now, people that don't know me go, oh man, come on, bro. I mean, really? But honest to God, this blue chipper that it blows everybody's mind, including my family, that went off on this drug thing, that cared about their body so much and didn't drink or anything. I'm telling you, I felt like hell. And then it turned me into a pill taking, alcohol drinking to get this heart feeling away, because I made that story quick, but there were years there. There were 2 or 3 years in there of figuring that out and couldn't figure it out. So to this day, and about the last 5 years, I sleep with a CPAP machine. So finally, I really know what's totally wrong with Marcus Bagwell, and it's around 2007 now. And I go, this is after my DUI trouble, everything. I get 5 DUIs, and none of them are alcohol.
Somas.
None of them. Somas were every one of them. And so the judge literally said, just off beat for 1 second, the judge goes, if you can tell me how you got 5 DUIs with no alcohol, I was facing 6 months. Because I had 1 DUI in 5 years. Everybody's heard that saying, 1 in 5. Well, in 2008, they changed the law to 10 years. So instead of facing 1 DUI in 5, I'm facing 5 and 10. Wow. So it looks really bad for me. I got prison time coming for sure. I'm in front of the judge, and he says, how did you possibly get 5 DUIs and none of them are alcohol? He goes, if you can tell me a good story I'll take your 6-month sentence and make it a 30-day sentence. I told the absolute truth and told him everything I just told you. And I served 30 days and a 2-year probation, and my 2-year probation is up this April. Okay. So I have alcohol. I have not had a beer or an alcohol beverage in 2 years, and I've not had a soma in 2 years. So for the first time in my life, after probably having at least one soma a day since 1991, 2-ish, at least one a day, unless I was out and wanting them, which is very rare, I took somas all the way till 2 years ago, and I've not had a soma or a beer or an alcohol beverage in 2 years, because when you're on probation, they got this new test, and it's called an ETG, and it goes back 80 hours through your liver. So you can't mess up or you go to jail at all. There's just no way to get around it in Cherokee County. It's unbelievable. The probation is very hard. So back on track, I go to the last rehab with my CPAP to come off somas. I have one last demon I'm trying to get off my back, and it's somas. I get to rehab with the CPAP machine. Now I know what's wrong. I know all the symptoms. It's time to get my life back and get off somas. I go down, come out of that rehab, and didn't beat it. Beat it for about 6 months, but then I lost my manager. He fell in his house, hit his head, and I found him dead. So I come out of rehab, and my manager's a stone cold drunk out of nowhere, and I find myself I'm sober. Now I'm babysitting him, and he ends up falling in his house, hitting his head, and dying of a brain hematoma. And 7 days later was that crazy car wreck that made national news with me. After that car wreck was the kind of the waking point of, and I was sober. They gave me a DUI on that and wasn't even there. They just heard I had a wreck and knew I was probably messed up. So once they got the toxicology report back, I came out of rehab. I was totally clean. I had what they call a withdrawal seizure. You see this little light, Vince. It's the most brutal light in the world, and it's called an aura. And what that light is for epileptic people to see this light, and it tells you to pull your car over or lay down, because you got about 45 seconds, because when you see the light, you're going down. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the phone with Judy at the time, my wife, and she goes, pull the car over. So I pull the car over, and I don't know how or why this happened, but in the middle of a complete seizure, blacked out stage, I crank a 5-speed Jeep, all jacked up, drive it off, don't remember any of it as I'm saying it now. As I've said it 1,000 times, and it was 4 years ago, 2012. I don't remember any of it. I vaguely remember hitting some mailboxes, but it wasn't in the police report. So the last thing I remember was right before I wrecked, I couldn't figure out why I couldn't control my Jeep. I do slightly have that memory, roll my Jeep, and it totally messes me up from head to toe. Broke my jaw, broke my neck again on the exact same day, 14 years later. April 22nd, 1998, live on Thunder. April 22nd, 2012, I break it in a car. Exact same day. That's not a good day. I'm not sure what that means. But so I go through all that process and rebuild my body again and get back into shape. And after I did that, in the process of the somas getting with the injuries, I got back on the soma thing a little bit one night, and I even called my wife because I had graduated DUI drug court. I had done everything right. I was doing real good. I was 7 years really doing everything right. Wrestling, training, look great, body, all that. Car wreck happens, and then I'm kind of back, not as bad as I was, but starting to dabble again. And then went to Taco Bell one night, nodded off at the window, looked over, and they called the police on me. I get my food, look over, and there's a cop right beside me. So I'm DUI sitting still at the window. So I'm thinking, well, if I'm DUI or not, we'll find out because I'm already here, DUI right here. So I shot him a peace sign and pulled off, and he pulled me over. And for some reason, anybody that takes somas know this, it somehow kicked back in. I called my wife before I went to Taco Bell to make sure I was okay because she knows my voice so well. And she goes, "Oh my God, you're totally fine. Go ahead and go." Something happened and it kicked back in. And I got plumb retarded doing the nose and all that stuff. I finally go, dude, I give. I'm tired of looking stupid. Let's just be done with this. So that led to the handcuffs. That led to the 2-year sobriety, and here I am. I'll be off probation in April.
All right, listen, Marcus, this is an incredible story, and here's what we're going to do, because I had a feeling that we were going to talk for a while, because I know you love to talk. I love to talk. I know you got a great story. This is what I'm going to do, Marcus. I want to end this show because I want people to hear this whole interview. And listen,
yes.
Once something goes on for a while, after a while, people just tune out, which, like they do on Monday nights because Raw goes on forever. So what we're going to do, bro, is I want to end this interview right here. And then we're going to start it. We're going to start again so I could do this over 2 episodes. Is that okay with you?
I am thrilled about that. And I think that's very smart on your part. That was a very good interview, but people are going to start, yawning a little. So let's give them a full, detailed, good interview, and let's do it again.
Yeah, we're going to do it again. Don't go anywhere, Marcus. Listen, that's part 1 of the interview with Buff. And now we're going to get into a whole other thing because I've heard bits and pieces of here's what I want to talk about now. I want to talk about what happened when Buff went to the WWE. I want to hear it straight from his mouth because there's different versions of the story. But there you have it, everybody. Part 1 with Buff. And Buff, I got to say this. Listen, bro. I mean this, and I hope you realize this. I think you do realize this, okay? And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Bro, I was very, very tight. I was blessed and lucky to have a very good relationship with Chyna, okay? And, obviously she's not here with us, okay? Bro, through all this, I am just thankful and grateful that you are alive. And as I'm sure you are, bro, because, bro, this could have went very, very bad many different times.
Many different times, bro, and that's why this really could be more like 4 interviews if we wanted it to be, Vince. I mean, easily. But honest to God, I mean, the people that know me are like, it's beyond the cat of 9 lives with you. You're like 3 cats, and it's the truth, man. It's really a hell of a story, and it's true, bro. And the WWE stuff we're going to talk about, it's true. And the thing that they're going to know when they listen to this interview is everything that comes out of our mouths is true, but we've got a lot more to say, so let's definitely I'm excited.
All right, everybody, there you go. Part 1 with the great Marcus Buff Bagwell. We will be back with part 2. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, Vince Russo back. As I promised, I'm cutting right to the chase. Part 2 with the great Buff Bagwell. How you doing, Buff? You hanging in there with me?
Man, I'm doing great. I really am. I feel great. I think I'm in the best shape maybe of my life, internally and externally. I feel really good all over, and just really glad you asked me to be on the show. I was really excited about it.
Buff, can I be honest with you? We've been honest up to this point, right?
Yes.
Buff, your hot wife keeps walking around in the background. Very distracting, Buff.
She left a minute ago.
Very
I think you may have saw me. I threw a little wave at her. She knew I was talking to you.
Buff, God bless you, bro. God bless you getting a woman.
She's wonderful, man. She's thank you. She's a trooper, bro. She literally in me and Lex's heyday of being bad boys, She ran Lex's gym for 13 years.
Wow.
For 13 years. So she moved from Fort Walton Beach to move straight up here, got a job at Main Event Fitness, and ran Lex's gym. And Lex is who set me and Judy up for our first date. And she, when I found out, had already been in love with me the whole time. Long story short, I was married both times that she was in love with me the whole time. When I finally get my second divorce, we got on one date, and I said, do you want to get married? I mean, she was 37, I'm 31, and she was like, yeah. I mean, at that stage, I think we knew what's going on, but
let's talk about that for a second, because that right there is interesting within itself. Like, Buff, I got to tell you something, bro. I've been married for 33 years. Okay,
congratulations.
33. I got married when I was 22. I'm going to be 56. Never cheated on my wife. Nothing, bro.
Bravo.
But, Buff, I always say this. God forbid anything happened to my wife. God forbid. Bro, I honestly don't think I'd get married again. Like, I'm a guy, like, I'm kind of a loner, bro. I kind of like to be by myself and stuff like that. I don't think I'd get married. Bro, listen, okay, I can understand, get married the second time.
Sure.
But after 2 marriages don't work,
right?
Like, do you not think, well, maybe I'm not the marrying type? Like, how do you go for it a third time, bro?
You just answered it, and it helps me answer my question. You're a little bit of a loner. I am, bro. Like right now, nobody's in my house, and I want to call somebody to come over. I just like to be around people, and I'm not a loner. I am really, believe it or not, I'm the marrying kind. I really am. Me and my first wife speak on a regular basis. She's great. She's phenomenal. Her and Judy are even friends. My wife now. But my second wife was just a complete, we partied the whole way. I married my best friend. I broke my neck with my second wife while we were dating. And at the end of that procedure of getting back and everything, it was either time to get married or tell her to get out. And I give her the option. I said, listen, to be honest with you, I don't know, I travel a lot. You're very young. I want you to be comfortable. Do what you need to do. But, it's time for us to move on in my life, and I'd like for you, if you want to, if you're comfortable. So we ended up getting married, but it was almost like marrying my friend, and I knew that. But back then I was young enough to think you could fall in love if you wasn't, and I didn't know that you can't do that. And I firmly believe now in my life that's something that you can't learn to love someone. And I thought that back then, though. So that was 2. And then when that ended, I went on the biggest party. 5 guys lived with me after my first divorce was the big party. Then second divorce, and then I instantly started dating Judy. And she came in, and I could just tell that I'm not a loner, to answer your question. And the second marriage really wasn't a marriage. It was just a big cluster.
So you've been married for a while to Judy then? 16 years, I guess?
16 years.
Beautiful, bro.
Yeah, so it worked.
All right, listen, it worked
the third time.
I want to bring up just a couple of WCW things, just a couple of things, because then I want to get into this WWE story, because I want to get the story from your mouth. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have no heat. I want to make sure that 2 things I want to talk about WCW. One question about heat. One theory that I have. We have no heat whatsoever because at one point in time when I was much, much younger, I made the decision to put your mother on a forklift. Are we totally cool with that, Buff?
Oh, to be honest with you, I thought that was fantastic. People kind of dog it out and make fun of it to this day, and I thought, I thought it was kind of pretty good. I liked it. That was fun. If you remember, my only complaint through any of that, and you may remember this or may not as much as you had going on, but you're smart enough to probably remember, Chris Kanyon was who I had the angle with. And one night I show up and I see I have a match with Vinny. What was the Italian guy's name? The ball headed
Vito.
Big
Vito.
Vito. So of course, when you see Buff versus Big Vito on the board, and you're Buff Bagwell, you're going over. We're a week out from the pay-per-view. Well, Big Vito was going over, and me and my mom at lunch that day had already said, look, just go with the flow. Do whatever you got to do. It's not worth it. Just, Vince is trying. And we had a really good talk at lunch, me and my mom. So I show up, and all of a sudden, this is thrown at me. So I go to the finish room, and Johnny Ace is like scared to death, and he goes, we got to slide over Big Vito. I go, no problem. Johnny Ace turned around so fast, he went, and I go, no problem, brother. My legs are crossed. I got a cup of coffee. And he's like, oh my God. And then they both start kind of skimming around. And I go, what's your finish, bro? Well, I do this swinging DDT thing. And I go, well, I'd rather not do that with my neck. But I mean, can we do something else? Oh, sure. We can do anything. We can, so as soon as that interview was going on, while the finish was going over, it hit me, and I wish it wouldn't have. I don't know how it hit me. I went, wait a second. Are you on the pay-per-view coming up? And he said, no. And I said, face went. And I said, you're beating me on Monday Night Nitro, and you're not even on the pay-per-view? So I got straight up, and the whole walk, Johnny's talking to me. Mark, they don't care no more. They're going to fire you. I said, I don't care. I really don't. Of course, that's how we get when we're there. But of course I cared. But you get in that mindset where you don't.
Yeah.
I said, I've got to at least ask Vince what we're doing. And when you explained it, it made sense. It was, Canyon was a camera guy.
Yeah, you know what's amazing to me, bro? This is a phenomenon to me. Can you explain this to me? I mean, this is an absolute shoot, bro, because this is like the nature of the beast. Or the animal called the wrestler. And it's fascinating to me. Marcus, everything you just said, I don't remember one single thing of that. But I don't doubt it for a second. And that leads me to my question, bro, which it just fascinates the hell out of me. Right. So many guys, like you, bro, who let's face it, bro, at one point there was alcohol at one point in time. There were pills, there were painkillers, there were all this shit, bro, but yet you could tell me what building you were in 1997, who your opponent was. Bro, what is that? Like, I've never in my life, bro, I don't remember anything from.
Listen to this. I can tell you what you were doing the day I walked up to you and what city we were in.
What is that, bro?
I don't know. We were in Cincinnati, Ohio when I walked up to you. I can tell you the walk I took even to get to you. I can tell you where you were at. You were upstairs doing an interview with somebody solo, and I can't remember who the solo person was. And I can remember our conversation because it got a little heated. I said, Vince, why are we doing this? And you go, for shock value. And I said, if we're trying to shock people, let's have Big Vito beat Goldberg. And you said something else, and it was then you finally put this on pause, and you were a little bit ill, but you made it make sense. And I said, I'm sorry, you're right, let's do this. And we walked off and we got out of it, but I don't know. I'm really good at that.
Unbelievable, bro. Unbelievable. All right, here's the last WCW thing. Then I want to go to WWE. Bro, there's a lot of bro, you hear the thing of, what killed WCW, the death of WCW, you hear all these grand theories. I got a conspiracy theory that I'd like to share with you and see if you believe where I'm coming from.
Please.
I think just the fact that Disco Inferno was working for WCW for all those years, bro. He never went anywhere else. I think Disco Inferno killed WCW. Would you agree with that, Marcus?
As bad as I want to say, yes, I don't think so.
Well, all right.
I remember when you made him one of the agents. And he actually had to come up and give me my finish. And then as soon as Hogan, for some reason, was right beside me. And for some reason, we were kind of laughing about that. But then he had Hogan's finish.
Yeah, I want to apologize.
And Hogan said, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
Get away from me."
I want to apologize for all that, bro. I want to apologize for any.
No, Disco was a friend of mine, so I love Disco, and I know you do too.
Oh, yeah.
He's a trip, but no, yeah.
All right, bro, talk to me. Walk me through. Okay, WCW closes. I don't, it's closed. Now, bro, you've already established, obviously, at this point, you are dealing with a lot of demons. You're going through a rough time. No doubt about it. But now, bro, listen, I don't know that if I'm watching TV. I don't know that if I'm the WWE. I'm still seeing Buff Bagwell, the blue chipper, can be a main eventer, all the charisma in the world. I want this guy on my roster. What happens, bro? Walk me through the time WCW shuts its doors. What happens to Buff?
We've already clarified the unbelievable skills I have with my memory. So let's clarify that before I start this. This is literally exactly how it went on. Exactly. And that is, we show up to Panama City and see a WWF truck, and I'm with Luger, Goldberg, Nash, everybody. We get there, we split up to our people, we find out WWF's bought the company, we go to our people to find out what we can find out. Within minutes, Shane McMahon clarifies he is the owner of the company. Me and Lex were not on the show, but we were the World Tag Team Champs at the time, and so we get ready to leave. And then Lex comes running out to me and goes, "Wait a minute, we do got an interview." So if you go back and look at the very first Panama City night that Shane McMahon went to Cleveland, you'll see two things. You'll see an interview with me and Lex on a WCW show, and you'll see when it goes via satellite to Vince in Cleveland, an interview between the son and the father. I'm on the way home, depressed as can be, after the interview I cut, and I'm leaving. And my phone rings. It's my father, and he said, "Did you see the show?" And I said, "No." He goes, "Did you hear anything?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, Vince mentioned 5 guys' names, and you were one of the 5. And this is my father talking. He goes, and without exaggeration, I think you got the biggest pop." Well, of course, as my father talking, I'm thinking, well, I may have been mentioned, of course, because he said it and saw it. But the biggest pop, come on. Well, I watch it back, and I really believe with all my heart I got probably the second biggest pop. But regardless of the pop, Vince McMahon named 5 of our talents, and I was one of them. So every top guy that knows this business inside and out, from Luger, Nash, Hall, Sting, and down, said, "Brother, if he mentions your name, you are in." So I'm no cockiness anywhere, of course, petrified like everybody was. And I was like, "Oh, that's great. All right. Thank God. All right." So the only reason a lot of people don't know this, but you do, but a lot of people don't know, the reason why you saw me and Booker and some of the guys you saw first was strictly because of contracts. My contract, what people don't know, and you may not even know this, Vince had tried to get me 8 months earlier. He flew me and my second wife up. We met at a Holiday Inn. It was supposed to be at his house, but something got brought up to where we met at a Holiday Inn, limousine, the whole Vince McMahon thing where he flies you in, you and your wife, and you meet with him and all that. But I had signed that contract literally on my hospital bed, petrified, from a handshake deal with Eric. And it was a 3-year deal for $1.1 million. And I said, Eric said, "Are you scared about this?" And I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "Mark," he said, "Well, I'll send it to you right now." So I turned, of course, to the back page, looked at the numbers, signed it, and told my mother to get this directly back in the courier as fast as possible because I'm petrified. I got a broke neck and I'm in surgery. So I wanted to get that done. So I didn't go to the I had a lot of leverage at that time that I could have got a lot of things taken out of my contract. But first class ticketing, rent-a-cars, hotels, and $1.1 million with a broke neck, you sign it and you be thankful to God. And I did so. But when it came time for Vince to take me over, there were too many clauses that he couldn't do it. So 8 months, I went from Buff Bagwell, Vince McMahon wanting me at the WWF to that goes 8 months later to I've got a ton of heat in the business now. The internet has gone wild. I'm hard to deal with. I'm a big mess in the locker room. I'm a drug addict. Some of it true, some of it not. Most of it not, some of it true. And so, this is the Marc Bagwell they know. So during that 8 months, I lost a lot because they met Buff Internet. They didn't meet Marcus Bagwell. Never. To this day, they haven't. They've never met, maybe once for about 10 minutes, but that was 8 months previous. So 8 months goes by, which is a long time. My contract's up, so I could have sat at home for a couple of months and made another, 60, 80 grand. And I had a manager named Brad Small, which, by the way, was DDP's, and I think it still is. And I said, Brad, I got a great idea. I said, with all the heat I got, what if we I'm 31, bro. I'm the youngest guy in this whole clique. I said, what if we just give Vince the money, just say you don't got to pay us, and we come aboard now to show we're team players. He was like, oh my God, best idea you came up with. So we call Vince, my manager does. He's thrilled. I save him 80 grand, just like that, and I go to work instantly. So the first thing they had us do was go to school. We had to go to school for a week, which I knew was my first test. And I did it and didn't say a word, but I was like, you got to be kidding. Learning how to run the ropes again? I mean, come on. But it did make a little difference, and we did need a little bit of practice, but not a week. But I did it. No complaints or arguments. Well, day 6 comes by, and everybody's a little bit agitated at this stage. Everybody's a little bit, come on, man, it's ridiculous. So at this stage, there's 12 guys that are from WCW, and there's 3 superstars. Let's call it superstars. Buff Bagwell, Dallas Page, and Booker T. The other guys are your Sean Stasiaks, your Mark Jendrax, your Palombos, guys with talent that look incredible, but they just didn't quite have the push that I had. So that's how unfortunately, that's how this business works. And so everybody there knew Buff had a job. There was no doubt. And it was not a cocky thing. It was a very humbling thing. But Buff was okay, everybody thought. So, especially with the giving the money back and the contract and everything. So we get the kind of everything done. So we're down there. And one day, I never really got along good with Hurricane Helms, Shane Helms. And never no heat or anything. I mean, there was heat, but like never verbal heat. It just never really liked him. We never even spoke hardly. I just didn't really like Shane Helms, and he may not like me. I don't know. We're down at school as most I've ever been around him. And then one day we had the best workout ever, and we're in the ring and everything, and we had a really good workout that day. And at the end of the workout, all the boys are sitting kind of talking. I'm on the floor with my elbows on the apron, and Shane is sitting in the ring on the bottom rope to my left. And somehow it gets down to us, and Shane throws out a jab on me, something about pills or something. And everybody kind of, whoa. And I said, wow. I said, easy there, Tiger. I said, I don't want you to break out a 3-count dance on us here or something, and, just did a little jab back, and everybody, whoa. And then he goes, well, at least I'm not going bald. And I said, wow. I said, you know what? I can't wait, Shane. I can't, because Shane had a little of a lisp. I said, I can't wait for your first interview. Hi, this is Shane Helms with the WWF. And the boys come unglued. Well, now he's hot, and he throws out a final zinger. And after the final zinger, I said, look, this is becoming kind of silly. I said, we can drop it, which I'd rather do. I said, or I can just beat your fucking brains out. It's whichever one you want. And he said, take your best, and that's all he got out of his mouth. I open hand slap him, and it rolls him to the turnbuckle. It was a good slap. Well, I turn and instantly go, way to go, Bagwell. You have done it again. You've blown it again. Way to go. as I'm walking away, I didn't know that he had an ace bandage under his shirt and these water bottles for ice. So he had an ice bottle, basically a brick, under his ace bandage. I'm walking off, and on about my 10th step, he comes up behind me and hits me in the back of the head with a full swing that feels like the roof has caved in on me. I feel like I don't know to this day how I didn't go down. So blood is profusely, you can imagine, everywhere on the floor. Here comes Fit Finley and Johnny Ace over, and all the boys are looking at me like, don't say it, don't do it. Even Shane Helms is. And I'm kind of, and they go, what happened? And I'm kind of reading faces, and I've been in this business a long time, and I go, I fell. And they go, you fell? I said, yeah, man, I slipped and I fell. And so Shane, this is the true honest to God story. We go to the bathroom, and Shane Helms is crying down his face, holding a towel on my head, going, I'm so sorry, Bub. Please, this is going to kill me. I never got a chance. Now you know you got a job, but I don't, please. So they talked me into 11 guys, because I'm 12. 11 guys talked me into, Dallas and Booker wasn't there, so 9 guys with cell phones talked me in to stick into the story that I fell. And I said, guys, y'all have already told half of this story. This is ridiculous. This is not going to stay quiet. And they said, no. So they convinced me, and I got 9 guys. And I said, okay, let's stick to it. I fell. Well, I go home. I fly directly home. I get 30 stitches. They had to cauterize my head. I don't tell WWE. I don't use their money. I use my own money. I go to my own doctor just to keep it quiet and let it go. I'm trying to walk on eggshells and get a job with the WWF, not WWE, WWF. And so I do all that. They don't know I'm hurt. I color my hair where you can't see it, color the stitches and all that. And I go, I show up to the next, I do a house show with Booker T in Seattle. And we've done 10,000 times, tore the house down, didn't miss a step, great match, crowd going crazy. Me and Booker wrestled 1,000 times and literally never missed a spot. We had the best chemistry ever. He wrestled me with Scorpio. He wrestled me with American Males. He wrestled me with Stars and Stripes. We'd wrestled 1,000 times and never literally missed a step. So we go to Seattle, same thing, great match. Well, the next night was Raw. I show up to Raw, and when we get to Tacoma, I see Shane Helms walking with the Hardy Brothers, and I go, hey, Shane, what's going on, brother? He doesn't wave, and neither do the Hardy Boys. And this is when they were majorly over. This is 2001. And I go, wow. I went straight to Johnny Ace and told him the true whole entire story. He instantly got all 12 guys together, and he set us down, chewed our asses out, kind of nicely, made us all make up, because by this stage, this is Johnny's job. Johnny's job's on the line too. Nobody was safe, and it was his job to get these 12 kids over. So we shake hands, and everything's cool. Well, this is the night they picked me and Booker T to be the main event. And what a lot of people don't know that always ask me a question, I give them I ask them a question along with their question instead of giving them the answer, because they're so intrigued with getting fired by your mom calling, and even though that didn't happen, but and then being getting fired. The best one is getting fired because of a bad match. Oh my God, who gets fired over a bad match? Warned, punished, fined, slapped on the hand. Buff Bagwell getting fired because of a bad match? Come on, guys. I mean, give me a break. So, but these guys, but people believed it. So me and Booker knew what the people don't know, and still to this day sometimes don't know, was the next week was Atlanta. So me and Booker automatically in Tacoma, Washington, we know something's up. Because why are they not waiting to do this in Atlanta? This is a no-brainer. Buff Bagwell Booker T Atlanta, Georgia match. And instead, they're putting out a week early in Tacoma, Washington, and we know what the outcome's going to be. It's going to be boos, and sure enough, it was. We get ready to go, but we know something's up. Of course, we can't say anything because we're trying to keep a job. So we go out, and nobody talks to us. Pat Patterson does their main events. Johnny Ace was in control of the 12 guys. Well, nobody talks to us. Well, Steve Austin walks up and goes, hey, during your finish, we're going to hit the ring. So just you guys don't have a finish, really. We're going to hit the ring just, at a certain, when we feel like it, is what he said. And so just keep wrestling until you see us coming. We're going to beat up Booker. You join in, Buff. We're going to throw him out. Then we're going to turn on you and throw you out. Great. We just assumed if Stone Cold came up and told us that, that's what we're supposed to do, so that's what we did. Not one boss talked to us. So we go out, do the match. I've watched it over, and I don't think it's that bad, but I got drilled for it and horrible. So we have the match, horrible, bad, good, suck, whoever wants to think what. We get back to the back, and of course, the claws come out a little bit. So Booker goes, what's up, Bagwell? What happened? I said, whoa, big man. Wait a minute now. I ain't taking the blame for this. What do you mean? What's up with me? We've had 1,000 matches, Book. I said, don't put this on me. And then all of a sudden, we see Johnny and Pat talking, and they go, guys, let's stop this whole thing. Pat was supposed to come to you and talk about your match, and he thought I was, and nobody did. So let's just write this one off to nobody talked to you, and it's no big deal. Let's let it go. It wasn't that bad. It's no big deal. Let it go. So we did. We felt bad because we didn't do a better job than we did. We knew we could just feel it wasn't a good job. But we went on, and that was during the week. The next week's Atlanta. So, and this is the exact same thing I've used before in my saying on this type interview, but it's the truth. I've got God, Jim Ross, and me as a witness, and that's it on this story. It's the only problem. I wish I had it recorded. And so he goes, hey, Buff, what's up? It's Jim Ross. I said, hey, man. He goes, listen. He said, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to take this weekend off. I think it was Augusta and Birmingham. I'm not sure. He said, I want you to take the weekend off. We got big plans for you on Monday. We want you to rest your head, get rested up, feel good. We'll see you on Monday. And I said, Jim, thank you very much. Are you sure? Absolutely. See you Monday. So I show up Monday, and they call me in the room. And when I get in the room, I literally, when you're Buff Bagwell in 2001, getting fired is not even in your galaxy. It wasn't even in my realm of brain power. And so I walk in a room with Jim Ross, Johnny Ace, and there was a third guy there, and it wasn't Vince. Vince came in kind of in and out, but it was a third guy. I can't remember. But anyway, Jim did the talking, and as they're talking, I have no idea what they're wanting to talk to me about, and I'm looking at them like, yeah. And finally, I realize, I go, oh my God, you're getting fired. And so I raise my hand, and Jim Ross goes, you don't got to raise your hand, Marc. And I go, oh yes, I do. I go, are y'all firing me? And he goes, no, we're releasing you. And I raise my hand again. And I go, what is the difference of getting released and getting fired? And damn if they didn't have an answer, and damn if it didn't come out fast. They go, well, if we fire you, we've got to redo your contract totally. If we release you, we can bring you back in 3 months, which is what we're going to do. And I said, at this stage, the Marc Bagwell 12 years in the business brain, which is a good little run in your brain, said, start smiling, try not to cry, and get out of here as fast as you can, and shake everybody's hand you can do. I did so. Thank you very much. Call you in 3 months. Shake, shake, shake. I even said, do you want me to kind of sneak out so nobody sees me leaving? Because people are going to ask. And they acted like I was crazy. They go, if you want. I go, well, I mean, guys, when I'm leaving, they're going to be saying, where are you going? So I never really got them to get on the same bandwagon with me. So I said, fuck it. I'm just going to walk right out then. Okay, fine. So I go walking out. Sure enough, every person, where are you going? I said, just got fired. Where are you going? Just got fired. I said it without exaggeration 20 times before I got to my car. The last person I saw, God rest his soul, in the parking lot, Chris Benoit. He had a neck brace on. So if you did your history, he had his neck operation sometime around that time because his neck brace was on. Woman was driving a white, back to my memory, a white Ford Expedition, and he was in the passenger seat, and he said, where are you going? I go, I just got fired. Now I'm starting to kind of get close to crying, and I'm trying not to. And me and Chris go way back, so I'm trying just to get in my $90,000 Jag that is gone, and I'm trying to get back to my $1 million house, which is gone, and trying not to cry. So I get in my car and just break down crying the whole way, call my parents, and I said, you guys, when I kind of get my thoughts together, I said, you guys can come on home. And they go, why? I said, because I'm home. And they were like, okay, gotcha. So they knew they knew kind of what was going on. So I go on home and, depressed as can be and start trying to figure it out, what I want to do. And then, of course, over the years, it just stuck like glue that my mother called to get me out of these things. And from that to a bad match is what I got fired for.
Where did that come from, Buff? Where did that come from, the mother part of it? Where'd that come from?
Well, let me tell you where I went. Where I went after about the third time getting asked that is going, let's go this route. Let's just say my mother did it, which I've been told, let's be a human being. I've been told by my mother that she did not do that. Do I know she didn't do that, honestly? I don't. She could have done that and been lying to her son. Let's take every possibility out of this. I've been told by my mother, and I believe her, that she did not do that. So where I go with that question is, even if she did, so what? Why would you still don't fire Buff Bagwell because his mom called? Once again, you may warn him. You may tell your mother not to fucking call us anymore, but you don't fire me over it. So I don't think she called. There was no reason for her to call. I called her and said, hey, let me off on the weekend, and my family, let everybody know, my wife, everybody. Hey, it's good news. I got big plans on Monday, but, this and that. But, man, it stuck like glue. And the only thing that pisses me off on Jim Ross was Steve Austin tried to dissect this one time like we're doing now. And Jim's answer was, hey, I had a bad, I like Marc. I like Marc a lot. I had a bad position. I was told what to do. I had to do my job. Well, that's a fucking lie. And Jim Ross knows it. And I can prove it. If you go to a video it's a round table video of Jim Ross, Eric Bischoff, Michael P.S. Hayes, I think Mike Graham, and I can't remember the other person, but I think Lawler. And Jim Ross absolutely fucking rips me apart. But his story, when he gets asked this question, is, oh, I like Marc, and I've got no problem. He dogged me out so bad on that. So if he's not lying, then why would he say that he has no problems with me? Say to the camera, I've got a serious problem with Buff. It's got nothing to do with what he got fired for or whatever, but I hate his guts. I don't like him. But by him saying he likes me, he's got no problem with me, to me clarifies that he's lying about the whole thing, because there's proof on video where he completely, not just kind of dogs me out, grinds me in the ground of my work, my mother, mama's boy. I suck. I'm horrible. It's a vision. My father watched it and said, don't watch it. It's that bad. So that's my answer. And I really believe with all my heart, Jim Ross either delivered or was part of the delivery of a big, long career for Buff Bagwell.
Buff, I want to ask you two things. First of all, when you're in that meeting where, you're raising your hand, why are you not asking why? Why are you not asking for a reason to get clarification?
I did. I'm sorry about that. I did ask, and they said right now and that's where the 3-month thing came from. They said right now it's not a good time. We just think that, we brought everything together a little too soon. That's why we're going to let everything kind of settle down for 3 months. And then we're going to bring you back in 3 months. That's where the whole 3 months came from, was my asking why. Them saying, we just need to, the locker room is, just a little bit disturbed and it's just a little bit turned around. We just need to let everything kind of calm down. We jumped a little too quick on everything, and we realized that. So we're going to just let everything settle down, and we're going to bring you back in 3 months. I mean, they confirmed to me definitely coming back in 3 months. Now, did I believe that? 1,000% no. I knew I was fired and done. But I waited 3 months and 2 weeks, so there was no they could say. And I called Jim Ross in 3 months and 2 weeks. And I said, he answered the phone, Jim Ross, and I said, Jim, this is Buff Bagwell. I said, this is Marc. He goes, and on that alone, I knew. Yeah. And I didn't even say another word. I said, Jim, I'm just letting you know I'm doing what you guys asked me to do. And that's the only reason I'm calling. You asked me to call you in 3 months. I wanted to make sure so there was no heat. I didn't do something else wrong. I'm calling you back in 3 months. Here's my call. And he said, Marc, we'll give you a call if we hear something, click bye. And I tried about 3 or 4 times over the next 5 or 6 years to make a Johnny Ace call or a Jim Ross call, and to no help.
Buff, can I ask you a question? I'm going to be devil advocates here for a second. Okay.
Please.
Because I want to ask you a question, bro. And I'm curious about this. You had mentioned to me at one point in the other interview, like, bro, you would do, I think you said you were up to like 20 somas a day.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to be honest with you, Buff, and I don't want to mention names because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. But obviously, man, I was in situations, and keep in mind, bro, I'm a guy that's as clean as a whistle, where wrestlers would come to work. I mean, bro, somed out of their mind, and I'm talking some big stars.
Yes.
And the one thing I used to say to myself is, they can't realize like how freaking drugged up they look. Because if they realized it, there's no way you would come to work. You would say, I got it.
Yeah,
I got this. There's no way like you would know I am incoherent and everybody is seeing this. You wouldn't know that. So like, that's my question to you. Is there a possibility that you may have showed up 1 or 2 times, maybe after a couple of somas, not really realizing the condition that you were in because you were so used to it? I mean, like, could that have been a possibility?
1,000,000,000%. That matter of fact, for my sanity, not knowing why to this day, and I've said this before, I would almost give up a contract with WWE over just knowing why I got fired. And that's a shoot line. I almost would turn down a $200,000 a year contract for the truth about really what really happened. But to answer your question, absolutely. But to rebuttal your question, don't you still warn me or pull me to the side?
Bro, if I cared about your well-being as a human being, forget about Buff the wrestler, forget about a contract. If I cared about you as a human being, absolutely 100% yes. And bro, quite frankly, if you're in that type of condition, man, the last thing I would want to do is release you. My first instinct would be, as a human being, we got to try to get this guy help. That would be my instinct. Not let's make the situation worse by taking his job away, and God knows what he's going to go out there and do in the real world. That would be my instinct.
And what happened was 5 DUIs from losing my job, and not really that, sleep apnea, a lot of things happened, but still, you know, it really did make a big difference on not knowing why. If they would have said, "Man, it's your pills," of course I would have said, "Dude, give me a chance here. Just give me a chance. I'll come off today. I had a problem, all that," but nobody, it was never mentioned. I believe with my heart that it had something to do with the pill. Reason why I got fired. I do exactly what you're doing. That's what I do. I go, it had to be something to do with the pills. I know I didn't show up and forget something or do, because they only saw me twice. So I know even if it was both times, I just think with all of my heart, from above Bagwell, let's go back to mentioning 5 names in the ring, to hiring you, to me giving the money back, to me giving him nothing but yes sirs and no sirs, and shaking hands and doing it. Obviously there's a nice guy here and they don't really know me because they've only seen me twice in person. I just feel with all my heart they would say, "Listen, brother, you got to cut the shit out or you're going to be gone." Yeah. And none of that was said. And I think so many people have had that chance except me. And that's my only complaint, is just tell me what I'm doing wrong and let me. Now, if I don't fix that problem, absolutely get rid of my ass. But I think I deserved and didn't get here's what you're doing, and if you don't fix it, you're fucking out.
Buff, I got to ask you this because, like, again, I'm going to bring up, Chyna only because I know her story so well. Here was a girl, bro, who became a superstar in one day. In one day, she lost her fiance, she lost her job, and she lost her name. She went on a downhill spiral she never recovered from, bro. I don't care how many years it was later. She never recovered from it. Now, Buff, listen to me, bro. Like, God, thank God, the big picture is you're here.
Yes.
Because here's the guy. Let's put you back in that moment in time. You made a career and a name for yourself in WCW. WCW is now closed for business. You think you have a job at the WWE. For reasons you don't know, whatever, that rug is pulled out from underneath you. So no WCW, no WWE. You have a substance problem. Bro, things could have went terribly wrong for you at that point. So what happens, bro, when now you're sitting at home and am I out of the wrestling business? I'm still dealing with these substances. I mean, that could have went in a very, very bad direction for you.
And it did. It really did. I had a really, really hard time with it. It was I was extremely depressed. I, of course, instantly, like we talked about, I was a functionable drug addict, so I still made it to the gym and did everything, but I was definitely out of control with the pills and couldn't fix them. But keep it in mind, sleep apnea too, which nobody believes, and I understand the not believing, and to be honest with you, I don't really care. That's just my true story of explaining it. Is every time I came out of rehab to fix it, I didn't feel good, and it took 6 or 7 years to diagnose it. Once I was fully diagnosed with AFib and sleep apnea, I fixed everything within a year.
Why do you think, like, when you tell me that story, right? Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm just being honest with you, bro. I was really tight with Terry Taylor. and
Right.
Terry Taylor had sleep apnea. So
Yeah.
I'm familiar with that, bro.
Right.
So like when you tell me that story, like that's completely feasible to me. Like I
Right.
that makes sense to me. Why do you think people don't want to believe that story?
I think with drug addicts, which I was, I think they always think we come up with an excuse. So when I would keep in mind, even back when the heart was happening, I was going, my heart. And I remember seeing my mom and dad's face and my wife's face, and they were like,
Even they didn't believe your own family.
no. So then when I had AFib, I said, I told you, and this is way before sleep apnea. This is just the AFib part. And I said, I told you guys I wasn't, but I could see it in their faces. They just thought I was just doing the drug addict thing and making something else up, so now, I got it.
So now you go home. Now we're throwing depression on top of that pile.
Yes.
Bro, as you tell me this story, bro, I'm a guy that deals with depression. I've been dealing with depression since I'm 22 years old. When you tell me this story now and where you are, in my mind, I'm like, I don't even know how I'd get out of that. Like, I don't even know what I would do next. So just walk me through that point in your life.
This is 2001, and my exact last day was October the 15th, 2001, when I was actually completely off paper from, so it was probably 3 months earlier that we were in Atlanta for a timeline. So exactly October the 15th, 2001 was my last day on paper or anything with WW. I WWF'd and I worked for WWE. So they, on somehow or another, by pure luck, October the 16th, the actual following day, not scheduled, by pure luck, was when Andrew McGuinness kicked off the Australia tour.
Okay.
And I flew to Australia the first day I was released by pure luck. I mean, I'd known it, of course, so I had it all planned, and the trip and the contract and all that. So there goes the Australia WWA for the next whatever. This is, you got to realize now I am completely, I do not know I have sleep apnea. I don't think I've not been diagnosed with AFib yet. I am completely depressed, and I am the worst I've ever been. I am now at 25 Loratabs and 40 Somas a day, every day.
And leaving the country to be in hotel rooms by yourself.
And leaving the country to be in hotel rooms by myself, and probably drinking a case of beer a day on top of that. In the middle of all those things, still working out every day, still looking in shape, so nobody really everybody knew it, of course, because it was completely unhideable for me at this stage. I was messed up all day long now. And so out of being messed up all day long, then my rock bottom started in 2004 with my first DUI. And I got 4 DUIs in 5 months. And if you get 3 in 1 year, it's an automatic year in prison. But somehow or another, 2 came through as Cobb, 2 came through as Cherokee, and I went down as 2 DUIs. And I went to DUI drug court, and I graduated it in 2007. So in 2007, you hear a lot of people talk about drug court, maybe, but you hear not a whole lot of people talk about graduating it. I graduated DUI drug court, brother, which is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, but I did it. And then 2007 to 2015, I was great and that's when I figured out the AFib, sleep apnea, and did my final rehab, kicked pain pills, was trying to kick somas, and then boom, I got caught again with a 5th DUI. And then that's when I kicked somas, and now I'm in my 2-year clean stretch.
So Buff, where are you now? Talk to me now about where you are with your life, what your ambitions are, what you want to do. Buff, here's what blew me away, bro. I got to be honest with you. When I looked at your Wikipedia today, I could not believe how young you still are.
I know.
I mean, seriously, bro. Bro, you're 46, right?
Yeah.
Which is,
hey, believe it or not, I'm 47 today.
Happy birthday, Buff. Happy birthday. Thanks for doing this on your birthday. But bro,
Absolutely.
You're a young freaking man with so much time left. Like, what are your goals and aspirations at this point in your life?
Well, first, let me tell you, that didn't hit me until my car wreck. When my car wreck happened, I was 42, and I was really depressed, of course. Car wreck on top of everything else we're talking about. I mean, oh my God, now I've got to fix all this. I was in a coma for 5 days. I come out of the hospital with arms this big around. I've got a big belly for some reason. In just 10 days, I fell completely apart. My teeth are knocked out. My neck is broke. My jaw is broke. It's unbelievable how bad I looked. I looked like an old bodybuilder meth head is what I looked like. It was unbelievable. I'm so honest. I can't believe I didn't take a picture of it. It was unbelievable. And it was horrid. So long story short, there goes I looked in the mirror and I said, I can't fix it this time. And Judy goes, what do you mean? I said, I can't fix it. I fixed the broke neck because I was young. I fixed this. I fixed that. I go, I'm 42. What I'm seeing in the mirror and being 42, I'm telling you, I don't think I can fix it this time. And then I had a buddy of mine named Thad Baird that was a dentist. He came over, would literally put my shoes on for me, and we'd go train at his gym in his house. And this is 2012. And I would start back, and finally I buff Bagwelled it and kicked out and was buff Bagwell again. And got back into shape and full shape and ready to go and started. But then that's when now my name is off the map. It's gone. Everybody thinks either I'm dead, the internet's got me dead, quit. Out of shape, done, and some of it true, some of it not, of course. But regardless, this is when my manager had died too. So my manager dies, and before he died, though, he wanted me to get out of this business so bad and go work for him. He owned a company called Taylor and Associates, and it was the #1 rehab company in the nation. Not rehab drugs, like rehab if a building caves in on people. He had 200 nurses that were pen and pad nurses that would go out and document everything and get everybody their doctors and their prescriptions and everything they needed. There were nurses with pen and pads, but it was a #1 company in the nation. And so he was loaded. So he was retired at 39, bored. So he became my manager. And when he tries to do the worst thing, which is take a non-professional, independent wrestling world and turn it professional. Well, and I know he didn't succeed, but he tried, and it just about killed him trying. So, and by the way, it did end up killing him. He turned to a drunk. He fell in his house, hit his head. I found him dead. I had the car wreck 7 days later. So I'm trying to get over all of that and somehow make a comeback. But that's when the gigolo thing happened. My manager calls me and calls my wife and goes, do you mind if Marc did this kind of gigolo show? She goes, well, what is it? And she goes, well, it's a, gigolo show. It's no big deal. Kind of downplays it like no big deal. I never speak to anybody. He handles it, gets it all done. We fly to Vegas. Halfway on the trip to Vegas, I go, I never even spoke to Showtime. How did you pull this off? He said, I'm just good, So we get there, we shoot the tape. We get to the shooting, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute now. We got to do this? So we had no idea. So here I go shoot a full-fledged, almost hardcore porn that shows on Showtime, and I don't even know how they were able to show it on Showtime. And you know me, I'm not going to back out. I'm broke at the time. It's a $20,000 payday, and it was their highest rated show, so they signed me on for season 6 at $20,000 a pop for 12 shows. So I'm like, let's do it. So my wife has no idea, of course. We get home. I got to go plug my phone in before my battery dies here. Hold on.
Okay.
I go home. Hold on one second. At Atlanta Airport, and I get in a car at Atlanta Airport, and I go, good news and bad news. Hold on one sec. I said, I got good news and I got bad news. Hold on a second here. I said, I got good news and I got bad news. I said, which do you want first? And she said, give me the good news. I said, the good news is here. He goes, oh my God, $20,000. This is great. Oh my God, this will get our bills paid. We're going to be okay. We're going to pull it out. All right. What's the bad news? I said, the bad news is I have sex with a woman on tape, and it's going to show in 2 weeks on Showtime. And she was like, what? And I said, yes. And she goes, did you have sex with her? And I said, no. And she goes, wow. I mean, it's already been done. I mean, I don't know what to say. I guess, okay. And I mean, nothing I can do about it, right? I go, no. And I didn't know what to do either. And we're broke. And I just went with it. Well, of course, TMZ went and had a field day. How are you doing this with being married? And so I did the route of movies. I said, well, I mean, when Tom Cruise, goes out, he don't really have sex with that girl. That was a work. And Showtime calls me and goes, what the hell are you doing? This is a reality show, Buff. Yeah. And so I literally did not have sex with that girl. And my partner does not believe me, because I guess I was like, man, I must have did really good. I mean, I'm talking peanut head, nothing. Cameras are everywhere. I'm petrified. I got as close as I could to her so you couldn't see the peanut head. And I'm trying to hide everything. And my wife to this day never saw it, never watched it, but kind of glad season 6 got canceled. But it happened. We went through it, and she's a trooper, and it did get us out of the hole. It worked. I was instantly, my phone started ringing again, and I started wrestling again, and I don't know how, but even last month I had a $15,000 month in the world of independent wrestling, and somebody line up or text me. I don't know if you had one of those lately or not, and it's hard to have one of those. So I don't know where it comes from, but it still keeps going. I stay in shape. Buff Bagwell feels the best he's ever felt. During this sober journey over the last 2 years, I have got excited again about life. First, let me go this route first. I have wrestled, not known, not they were wrestlers too. I have physically locked up and wrestled with 70 dead guys.
Oh my
70.
gosh. Wow.
So, and and I know I should be one of those 70. So with that knowledge of not being one of the 70, getting sober mind, and Marc Bagwell's sober mouth talking, the way I started to get treated again when I would speak became fun. People were listening to me, not with the slur of the voice, and I thought I was getting by with it and the drag of the eye. It was Marc Bagwell again. It was, hey, what's up, man? What's going on? And people really hanging on to what I'm saying again, like they used to 10 years ago. And I got excited again about life and about being Marc Bagwell again. And so I did so. I got back in the gym, and I got in really good shape. And then, of course, you know how life is. Last year, I had a complete shoulder replacement. And then 4 months later, I had a complete hip replacement. So within a year, last year, I had a shoulder and a hip. So I got them done. And if you pull a picture of me on last week or 2 weeks ago in whatever city I was in, I'm still hanging on. I still wrestle with my shirt off. I still look, I think, pretty damn good for a 47-year-old. And then on top of that, just being 47, they don't know, the ones that don't know about the hip and the shoulder. So I feel great. I feel like I look great to be 47. Me and my wife are doing great. She's got a great new job she loves. So, man, I think everything's going, it's one of those things that very seldom happen, but it's a horror story. Pretty damn good ending.
Marc,
so I'm very happy.
Do you still keep in touch with a lot of old friends from the business? I mean, do you still stay in contact with anybody?
Not really. Dale Wilkes, a good bit. I love Dale. Me and Dale talk a good bit. The Steiner boys, of course, live right by me here. Me and Disco talk a good bit. Sting's probably the only one that I was super tight with that it feels almost like I'm bothering him when I'm talking to him, and I hate bothering anybody. I don't do that. So even about a month ago, I remember we was in Ohio together, and we had a wide open, easy chance to see each other. And I said, hey, man, let's grab some dinner or something. And I could just tell by his demeanor before he could speak, I had us out of the dinner plans, you know? Yeah. So I could tell that's just not the Sting no more. The Steve Borden I know, that's just not him. No problem. I got it. Have fun. And so here we are in the same town for 2 days and we didn't see each other. Yeah. So, that's kind of weird because me and Steve were inseparable for a long time, but me and Lex still talk. I just talked to Lex last week. He's in Buffalo now.
Yeah, I had Lex on the show probably about a year ago. It was great to have him on, man. Great.
It really is. I mean, it's really who you had on your show was Lawrence Foal.
Yes, absolutely.
It wasn't Lex.
Bro, do you know? Like, I don't know if you stayed. I don't know if you stayed friendly with Mero over the years, bro. He recently had to have open heart surgery. Did you know that?
I did know that, and we've stayed fairly tight. I've gone and saw. He actually went to my high school and did one of his talks, and I went to see him to support him. So I've gone and seen him locally 3 or 4 times over the last couple of years. He's done extremely well with his talk. Oh, he's rolling, doing great. It's from the heart. Every time I see it, it's the same talk, and I cry every time. It's unbelievable because it's such a shoot. He's got a really good thing going, and I'm very proud of him.
Hey, Marcus, I got to ask you this, bro. Listen, I got to ask you this, and maybe this is the last question, and we wrap it up because we got to do this again, bro.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm not marking out for you because you're here. I was always a big fan of yours, bro. You got it. You were a great entertainer. I was always a fan of yours. I want to present you with this last question. Bro, as I'm sitting back and I'm listening to your story, I'm kind of feeling like when all was said and done, for whatever reason, maybe it seems to me like maybe you were blackballed from the business. And when I say that, I'm like, well, wait a minute, Vince. You've worked in 3 different locker rooms. You worked in for 25 years with WWE, WCW, TNA. I saw dozens and dozens and dozens of guys under the influence. There are going to be dozens and dozens and dozens more. Marcus Bagwell wasn't the first, isn't going to be the last. Quite frankly, I thank God you're alive. Why would Marcus Bagwell not get a second chance when people who went down that same road have clearly gotten second chance? That's got to drive you crazy, bro.
Bro, if you only knew. First of all, bravo on the explanation. Absolutely perfect. Let me go down with this being, like I said, probably the last question, so the last answer too. And that is, let me go down by saying 1,000% I was blackballed. 1 1,000,000% I was blackballed. Nobody in this business did not get a second chance. I got beat by Dick Slater 4 different times when he'd get fired from WCW, go to WWF, come back to WCW, and beat me again. Everybody has gotten, I mean, I can name 4 guys I did that with. I swear to God. Matt Bourne was another one. He'd leave, get fired, come back, beat me again. I mean, beat Bagwell. He was a young kid, ain't gonna hurt him, beat him. It was okay. It was unbelievable. But my point is, there's no way they could possibly argue the fact that Buff Bagwell should have been on WWF television in 2001 and should still be there right now. There's not a person out there that could possibly argue it. And even the ones that do, if you took a poll, I would guarantee you in the 99 percentile, it is a, you've got to be kidding me. Why are you not on TV? My father cannot even talk about it without crying. Yeah. Because it's just that unbelievable. I mean, you take a Buff Bagwell that did what I did on television and had the it factor that you're talking. And this is not being cocky. This is a blessing. I was blessed to have the it factor. I was blessed to have good genetics, but I worked hard and got myself over, like you said, and you do not let that kind of talent go. And I'll go as far as saying there's no way anybody out there listening or yourself can come up with somebody of my talent that did not have some kind of second chance. And I had no second chance with no reason. I had no reason either. No why, no idea to this day why I got fired, except take 3 months off and call us back. If McDonald's fired me tomorrow and didn't tell me why, it would drive me crazy. The WWF did it and didn't tell me why.
And Buff, let me clarify this. For the short cup of coffee that you were there, I'm assuming, because I didn't hear it in your story, you were never drug tested at any time, were you?
Never. I was never talked to about pills. I was never talked to about drugs. I know for a fact I was sober the day of the main event because I was main event on Raw. So there's one of the 2 times they even saw me or around me any distance of time. Seattle was a house show, so that was only an hour they were around me. So the rest was school stuff, and that was, again, I was very careful with that and waited to make sure I wasn't doing something stupid down there. So you're talking about 6 times at a wrestling practice session, and 8 times they literally put their eyes on me. Come on, bro. You know Marc Bagwell. Is that enough to really fire him? I mean, it just isn't. And so blackballed, call whatever title we come up with, I use the old word fucked.
Well, bro, you know what? But listen, bro, at the end of the day, like, really, who gets last laugh? You know, bro, you're alive.
Yes.
You're clean. You're sober. And like I said, here's the beauty. Today is only your 47th birthday, bro. You have so much freaking time to do what you want, reinvent yourself. You did it so many times before. And you should thank God you're not dead. Thank God you're not broken down, old. I can't walk. You still got the Buff Bagwell brand, bro. It
really does go back to, you know, it could always be worse. And I also believe that statement. And I also am a big believer in the everything happens for a reason. So I did hound on it for a long 5 years. I was really down about it. But after the first 5, man, I was like, you know, this is not going to come back. So let's just focus down on the independent thing and do the best we can. But it's, you know, when you literally, Vince, every day of my life, and I can say that without exaggeration, 6 days out of the week, 1000% somebody at a gas station or a gym or something will say something about, whatever happened, man? Why did you go to the WWE? So that for 15 years is a long time, brother. And it does kind of weigh on you. But now it just kind of rolls off my back, man. But when you hear that for 15 years, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, bro, but also what you're hearing for 15 years is you left an impact on people, bro.
Yeah.
For them to remember you 15 years. That's the most important thing, bro. Bro, listen, I watched the WWE show. I quit watching it. I said to myself, I'm going to give it another chance. I tried watching it, bro. I promise you, 90% of that roster, they're not going to remember those names in 15 years. The fact that 15 years later we know who Buff Bagwell is, that says who you are, bro. Bottom line.
I really appreciate that, and that is how I look at it, and that's how my parents look at it. And I was able to do something that a lot of guys would give anything to have one day of what I had. So you end up in life like we do, you end up looking at the positive things and not the negatives, and that's what I do. When I take a picture with the guy at the gym that recognized me, that watched me as a kid, that's not depressing to me. That's exciting to me. This guy recognized, one guy the other day recognized my voice and turned around and goes, man, you sound like Buff Bagwell. I said, well, that's because I'm him. He goes, you're Buff Bagwell? So that's exciting. Guys that are the millennials is what they are. The millennials that recognize me and come up and want to take a picture. That means I did leave a dent. I left a dent, man. I left an impact, and that's a great feeling. So that's what I go with, and I'm okay with it. I really am. But I will say one last thing real quick. About 2 months ago, I was on a podcast with a guy, I can't even remember where, a really nice guy. And somehow or another, he brought in Dale Wilkes. And God, I wish I had this guy's name. But he brought in Dale Wilkes as like a guest talker with me on the show. And I was like, oh, hey, Dale, what's up, man? He's nothing. And he goes off on what we're talking about. And if I could say what I wanted to say and it not sound stupid because I'm saying it, he was able to say it all. He said, I think it's a crying shame that because a guy like Buff Bagwell looks the way he looks, he gets blackballed because he's a good-looking guy. And he just goes off on one of these tangents that literally I could not have wrote down myself and said it better. It was unbelievable, and it was so nice to hear, even though he's a friend of mine, still one of the boys say something that everybody really knows and just don't say. And I said, man, that was absolutely unbelievable. And then just when I thought it was over, he goes, and by the way, if you ever want to go somewhere, and I mean never get lost, get in Buff Bagwell's car. He knows where everything's at.
Yeah, bro, speaking of that,
memory.
Bro, I got to be honest with you. My son, bro, I moved to Colorado. I was in Atlanta for WCW. Then I moved to Colorado. My son wound up going back to Atlanta. Bro, he got married about a month ago. He lives in Atlanta, but bro, the freaking traffic in Atlanta is getting it was ridiculous, bro.
Well, so Atlanta was the kind of the big city with not the big city traffic for a long time. And basically during the WCW run even, it was the big city that you knew what time not to go 75 south. You knew what time not to go 75 north at least. Now we are big city with big traffic, and it is absolutely unbelievable. Atlanta went from the best place in the world to live to I would finally consider definitely moving because of the traffic. It's that bad.
It was brutal. All right, listen,
it's horrible.
Listen, Buff, this show goes out to a lot of people on Podcast One. Now, bro, if people want to book you, give me all that stuff, bro. Give me Facebook. If there's a website, if there's a Twitter, put it all out there for people listening to this interview.
You got it. I am Marcus Buff Bagwell on all social media, Instagram and Facebook. I'm Marcus Buff Bagwell. And then on Twitter, I'm Marc Buff Bagwell because the letters didn't fit. And so I'm Marc Buff Bagwell on Twitter, Marcus Buff Bagwell everywhere else. But to be honest with you, I'm going to throw out something that's going to blow your mind because this is the way I am. This is my cell phone, and that's what I do. I want people to call me. That's how much I reach out to my people that do it, and I don't mind it. And that's my cell phone. That's 404-844-9561. I am easy to reach, and that's what I do. I literally talk to people, and the manager thing don't work for me because they want to talk to good old Buff, good old Marcus. And they get Marcus on the phone, and they like it, and it keeps me busy. Every time I try to bring a manager in, my bookings go down ASAP. So I answer the phone, I do the deal, I do everything, and it comes across a lot better, and it helps out a lot better. So 404-844-9561 is your best chance for getting me for sure, because I return every phone call, and I always talk to everybody. So that's my number and the best way to get me.
Well, Buff, bro, I thank you for, couple of hours we were talking, and we could have talked more. I thank you so much for your time. Yeah, bro, and I don't even care about, everything else. I'm just ecstatic that you're clean. You're here with us. This is the old Buff. You're still your entertaining self. You haven't lost a step, and that's what I'm very, very thankful for, bro, and thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Vince, I was really excited about this. And then when it got a little closer, I thought, well, which way is Vince going to go with this? It was either going to be this way or the other way, but I was like you, and you explained it perfectly out of the gate, which was either way we go, we're such straight shooters. This is going to be fun and great. So I was so excited about it. And thank you so much for having me on the show. And thank you again for everything, man.
The great Buff Bagwell, and I do mean that. I listen, I say this all the time. If you're a wrestling fan in today's era, okay, you obviously weren't around to see the things that I saw. And I say this all the time. Casual wrestling fans, the wrestling fans that have left the wrestling business in droves, they've left because in their mind, a wrestler looked a certain way, smelt a certain way, talked a certain way, and acted a certain way. A wrestler was not somebody that could be my next door neighbor. A wrestler was somebody that the minute he walked down that aisle, this was somebody.
Yes, instantly the people stood up. It was a star. It wasn't somebody that's in the industry named Buff Bagwell going, who is that? So like we do now. It was somebody coming down the aisle that everybody knew, that everybody stood up for, and those days are gone, my friend.
Yeah, bro, here's the simple test I give all the time. Look at the wrestlers on the WWE roster. Look at Buff Bagwell. Here's the test. When a wrestler walks through an airport, okay, is somebody going to stop him? Is a head even going to turn? No, yes. Because they look like everybody else. Buff
one last story real quick. I got to say this, and I got to dog out a nice guy, and I hate it, but it's the truth. Stevie Richards one time, probably around 2007 or 8, that long ago. But I get off the plane, and these kids just come up to me, just all around me, everything. Well, I kind of glance up, and I see a guy over there that's got a WWF hat, a WWF shirt, a WWF pair of pants, and even I'm kind of looking, I said, oh my God, that's Stevie Richards. He comes over to say hello, and with all that, go, oh, are you a wrestler? And he was going to the Indianapolis, Indiana that day, and I watched him on Raw that night. And that says everything you just said.
Well, not only that, bro, how much has it changed since then?
It's gotten 100 times worse since that.
Since that, it's gotten
Yes.
a million times.
I don't know anybody no more. Nobody. I mean, even I can say his name, Kevin Owens, but I swear to you, if you give me 3 guys in front of me right now, I don't think I could pick him out. I don't think I could. And I know his name, but I don't. That's where it's gone to.
And that's why the casual fans are gone. That's what they want. Here's the phrase, Buff. They want larger than life characters. I want to watch a wrestling show, and I want to know that every single one of those guys coming out that entrance could kill me.
Yes, absolutely.
I think I'm going to be 56. I think I could legitimately take half of the WWE roster today. Buff.
I know you could.
There you go. But there he is, everybody. The great Buff Bagwell. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to have a moment on again.
It's right about time again to swerve again, confuse the general fans again. Add another swerve and then put it on a pole again. Put it on a pole again. Put it on the pole again. And our square to quad is gonna get emotional as I wait to overbook the damn cards.